perspective, but definitely truly amazing technology. And Emily will kind of talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit. Globally, we've got about 40% of the market share, which I do think is pretty amazing. We work with 75% of Fortune 500 companies, and we truly are, in every country. So I just kind of talked about GIS, so I'll go ahead and skip that slide. I'll skip that. We are based in Redlands, California. My assumption is that most everyone on this call has probably heard of Redlands or is at least familiar with the area more or less. But not only are we located in Redlands, we also have businesses or affiliates all across the world. So you'll see, and it's interesting, we actually left off Redlands on this case, but we do have regional offices. I myself actually work out of our Minneapolis office. So I'm up here today, whereas Emily, you're in Portland, Maine, correct? Yep.
Yep, that's right.
Exactly. So you're actually talking to two folks who aren't even local to Southern California. Y'all are enjoying way better weather than what we are up here. I'll tell you that right now, assuming you're actually on campus. Our international distributors are companies who are affiliated with ESRI. However, they don't necessarily have the authorization to build our technology. So if you want to consult with our technology, sell it, or support it, then you could work for one of them. So let's say that you're originally from Australia. You want to move back there, you could definitely do that and be affiliated with ESRI, which is a really cool opportunity. So it really does open the opportunity for you to, potentially explore your career, especially coming from more of that technical standpoint, because a lot of our research and development centers that you do see here on this map are more focused on building a specific portion of our technology. This next slide always seems to take forever, but I'm just going to quickly run through it. So ESRI does have a beautiful campus environment. And in fact, during COVID, we've actually done a lot of improvements on campus. We've built a couple of buildings and just really tried to enhance it, redone some on the inside as well. So when, COVID does get to a point, on a nationwide level, or at least a local level, to where we do feel safe allowing our employees back into the office, you will be able to take advantage of that. Casual dress, you can see today I'm wearing a sweater. Normally I do try to dress up a little bit. My daughter's currently in the hospital, so I just actually drove home from the hospital, but I'm gonna spare you all the details on that because I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what's going on that side of things. We do have flexible work schedules. I think it was Ashley was asking me earlier how it is working from home. It's great. In fact, I was working from the hospital earlier today. So as far as flexible work schedules, you do have a tremendous amount of flexibility in that particular area. And then on the flip side of that, if I need to take my dog to the vet, if I need to step away for a few minutes, we do have that opportunity as well. So flexible work schedules truly are something that I think ESRI brings to the table. It's something you can really count on as you kind of explore your career. We do have an on-site cafe with Starbucks bar and a fitness center. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. It's pretty straightforward. Going from there. So probably the most important part of ESRI, and the thing that I want to spend the most time talking about here is really our culture and collaboration, as well as our development opportunities. And I'll start with our professional development opportunities, and then I'll kind of circle back over to our culture. So the first thing that I will say is that here at ESRI, with us being the world-leading provider of GIS software, what you see is you see a company that's consistently challenging and pushing the technological boundaries. Anything that's happening in GIS is likely happening for the first time, and that's likely coming from ESRI. And so because of that, every time you get involved from a development standpoint, you're going to get this opportunity to really truly build skills or build programs or build applications that have never been built before. And that really creates this this mentality of always learning and being challenged on your daily work, which as you start to look for a career, you're going to want a company that's regularly going to be challenging you and providing you with those opportunities for professional development. Not only are you learning just organically through your job, but we also have what we call our fellowship scholarship. And if you are local to the Redlands office, you are actually able to go 100% or go back to school through the University of Redlands 100% on ESRI's dime, assuming you get selected for the program, and you can get a bachelor's, master's in an area that you're interested in. So let's hypothetically say that you're getting your bachelor's right now in computer science and you want to get that master's. ESRI would pay 100% for that. On the flip side of that, we also have tuition reimbursement where you don't need to go for a full master's. If you just want to specialize in one particular project, you can do that, or one particular class, you can do that. We also have an internal team within HR, our employee development and training team, which is really great about actually teaching our employees how to be successful in a variety of different ways. Now, I will be honest. I have taken the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Employees twice. I don't know if that makes me less effective or more effective. I'm going to defer to the fact that it's more effective, but that is through our HR team. And truly, it's a fantastic class. And those are the kind of classes that you do get to take through the HR team is, how to have crucial conversations, project management essentials, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, like different classes like that. And it doesn't just focus in on the actual professional side of things, but it also focuses on the professional side of things, which really enable you to be successful across all facets of life, which I think is really cool. And then finally, if you're the type of person who's just able to learn, independently, loves reading books and kind of picking up, we do have a comprehensive reference library on campus, which is great for that exact area there. If I do bounce back to the team culture and collaboration, I will say that ESRI is unlike any company that I've ever seen. And once I finish up with this slide, I'm actually going to let Emily talk a little bit more about what her experience has been in this, as well, just because I want to see what her experience has been more from the software development side of things. But with that being said, ESRI is full of some of the most passionate people that I've ever come across in an industry. And I will say that we have also seem to build a really great team of really brilliant individuals as well. People who are very passionate and brilliant are going to help you really kind of build your career in that capacity. I will also say that ESRI has a relatively flat corporate structure. And so because of that, we're not necessarily the company where you're going to climb the corporate ladder to get to where you are. Instead, what you'll do is think internally on what you want in your career goals, and you can get involved in projects across the organization. So you've got your main job, and then if you want to get a project over here, you can do that. And if you want to get involved in a project over here, you can do that. And so because of that, basically what it does is it allows you to build the skill set that you want and then build the career that you ultimately want, which is truly amazing. It can be remarkably rewarding. ESRI also has a very collaborative environment. Most everyone has their own individual office, but it does have a sliding glass door, which really creates this buzz around campus. As you're walking through campus, you get to see inside Susie and Al and Tommy and Karen's office and just kind of see what they're working on. And that creates a little bit of a buzz and excitement for you because you get to see what everyone else is working on. Emily, do you want to throw anything in with that?
Yeah, I would second everything that you said there. I've been at ESRI for a little over a year now, and my team, the field maps team, mobile development, everyone has been so welcoming to me. I couldn't have asked for a better experience. I feel like part of the team culture here at ESRI is just that if someone needs help, there's always someone just out there that's just willing to drop everything they're doing and help you, which is so amazing to me because people are busy and yet they'll still make the time for you. So yeah, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. I just think it's a very welcoming and warm community that we have here. So definitely encourage you guys to, yeah.
Perfect. So I know I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to kind of skip through things here just because truthfully, the rest of it is just kind of talking a little bit more about opportunities, the different divisions. Overall, ESRI, we have our software engineering team. Our core software is built on C++, Java and Python are our next two biggest programming languages, C# for a lot of our GUIs and testing environments, JavaScript for the website of things, obviously. You could also get involved with our you can get involved with product engineering, which is more of our testing, releasing, documentation, QA. It's really a great way if you don't want to sit and code all day and you want to have a little bit more of a factor. I know, right? I do have until 1, but I want to leave plenty of time for Emily because she's got the good stuff. But with that being said, product engineering is really, they work very closely with our developers, but they're a little bit more in tune with the GIS side of things. So if you do find yourself gravitating more towards the spatial side of things, I definitely think that's an area that you could get involved with. And then if you're interested in more project-based work, you can also get involved within our professional services division. Professional services is our internal consulting team, so they work directly with our customers on a variety of different projects, ranging anywhere from geospatial analysis and cartographic design to full-on application development, project management, and a variety of other things. So, truthfully, if you like more of a project as opposed to just kind of really, wrenching on the same technology, professional services could be a great, area for you to kind of, explore that. So, the last thing that I will mention on this, just as far as ESRI as a company, We are recruiting throughout the entire year. We don't have like a recruiting period where, hey, we're only hiring between, say January and May. We recruit and hire throughout the entire year. So whenever you do graduate, you're more than welcome to kind of go down through that. And then as of right now, we have filled almost all of our internship opportunities. I would say that we have maybe about 2 left at this very moment. And those teams are looking for a Python developer, Python and Java developer, focused a little bit more on the like web services side of things, or they work on the server team. So if anyone is interested, I will share my contact information in the chat window, and you can reach out to me and we can set up a quick conversation just to kind of dive in a little bit more about that. So that's for the internship. If you are interested in internship side of things, I do encourage you to apply September, October, November, as opposed to right now, as we do like to hire a little bit earlier in that capacity. So with that being said, that's mostly what I have. Obviously, you can ask whatever questions you have in the chat, and I'd be more than happy to do that. But I'm more excited to actually see what Emily has to show. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her go to town.
All right, guys. So I'm a developer here at ESRI. As Nick mentioned, I work on iOS apps, building iOS apps. So when it came to me and he asked me if I wanted to do this demo, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to show these guys? Like, I work in this very niche area. And I just tried to imagine back to when I was in your guys' shoes and I was like just learning about GIS and like kind of how intimidating it was. So the whole point of this demo that I'm about to give you is to just kind of give you some resources for how you can move forward, how you can bring our products into your own projects. It's actually pretty straightforward to get up and running. And yeah, so that's just what I want to demonstrate to you guys today. So I'm going to post a link in the chat here to, I think, what is like one of the most important resources for you guys, which is ArcGIS Developer, which it lets you go and you can create a free developer account, and that'll give you access to documentation, to some code examples. I'll show you how to get started. So here, let me share my screen. Are any of you guys mobile developers or web developers, just out of curiosity?
No. I've taken an application development course, like a web application development course.
Okay, cool. So you're going to kind of have an idea of what's going on here. That's awesome. All right, so here is ArcGIS Developers. This is a landing page for your developer account. I'm just going to show you mine. So this is just my personal developer account. It's not in any way tied to like the work that I'm doing professionally right now, but it's just kind of if I want to play with something or test something out really quick, I'll come here. So when you come to the site, it's usually going to just land you on this dashboard, and it'll show you all your API keys. It'll show you any layers, any data that you have, pricing. So there's just like a ton to unpack and explore here. So you guys can just kind of go crazy with that, but I'll just sort of give you an overview. So the documentation is probably where you're going to come to find out, depending on what you're working on, you can dig in deeper to a certain aspect of the tech stack that you're working with. So if you're doing web development, you might come over here to the ArcGIS API for JavaScript. This is great. It's really powerful. It'll show you how to get up and running, get started. If you're building out mobile native apps, we have runtime APIs for that. You can come and find a documentation for those. And same for Python. I know a lot of people are into scripting, so this is just kind of a landing page of everything you could ever want as a developer. So it was like the first thing I wanted to show you. So let's see here. All right. So with that being said, I kind of want to jump into an actual coding demo with you guys. And I want to just create a sample Xcode project and show you how you could bring in our iOS SDK and just get a simple map up and running, just to kind of demonstrate like how simple it is. So if I was doing this and I was a beginner, I didn't know what to do, I would come here, I would come to the documentation for the iOS SDK. You can come see, I'll show you how to like install it and set it up. So let's come over to Xcode. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new project.
Oh yeah, we can't really see your screen right now. We just see Slack.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. You guys. Okay, let me just see if I can switch this around here. Nick, you can't leave me hanging like this, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I was really looking at it and I'm like, that looks a lot like Slack. That's so interesting.
Emily, you can't blame me. I'm not on the technical side here. I'm just kind of looking at it like, I've never been to our developer page. I'm like, yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, this is our Slack page, guys. The most important developer page you need to see. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just drag all my stuff here. I have like 3 different monitors open, so I totally thought that I was on the right one, but it's not. Okay.
It's all right.
All right. Here we go. ArcGIS developers. This is a landing page. If you follow the link to that website, it's going to land you here.
This looks
go ahead
better.
and- yeah, this looks better. Okay, so here's your dashboard. It's going to show you everything that you need, right? API key, subscriptions. I feel like I should go through all this. You can see it though. Layers, but yeah, feel free to come in here and just explore the documentation. Obviously, like I was saying, here's where you have access to all your web APIs, the mobile and desktop APIs, all of our different products. So I'm going to be showing you how to use our iOS SDK and then how to kind of introduce you to ArcGIS Online and some of the capabilities there. So hopefully kind of let you guys see a few parts of our tech stack. Okay, like I said, so let's just go ahead and get started using the iOS SDK. This is probably most likely the process you guys are going to go through if you're going to start bringing our tech into your own project. So whether it's a web app, I mean, it's going to be a little bit different depending on what you're doing, but since I'm an iOS developer, this is kind of the route that I'm going to show you. So let's just go ahead and create a new project here. We're going to create an app. I'm just going to call it Cal Poly. If I can spell it right. SheCodes demo. I'm gonna go ahead and just select the storyboard, your app delegate for now. And I'm not normal. I don't normally save stuff on my desktop, but I'm going to. So I would not recommend this as a best practice for you guys, but for demo purposes, it's okay. All right. So we've got a new project. All right. So I think the quickest and easiest way to get up and running with our SDKs is to use some sort of package manager. And depending on which one you're trying to install, like there's different ways to do it. But with the iOS SDK, usually we use CocoaPods. If you've done any web development, it's very similar to NPM, which is like as a package manager for the web. So if we come over, where is it? If you guys want to come and do this later, or if you're curious for, like the Android SDK or something, we always have these install and setup pages that kind of show you how you can get up and running. So this is the method that we're going to use for the iOS SDK. So let me just go to my terminal here. I'm going to go cd into my new project. I'm going to go ahead and do a pod init. This is going to create my pod file, and then I can show you guys how you can bring in a package and then install it. So run over here to CocoaPods. So if you're not familiar with CocoaPods, basically like the NPM page, right? Grab this guy. I'm gonna go ahead and they usually give you some instructions we're gonna paste in this guy and then install it. All right, now we can just go and kick off our install. And there it goes. And that's like how easy it is to just get up and running with our SDK. So it might take a minute. So while that's installing, I want to show you guys one other thing, which is GeoNet. So as a developer, like you're probably going to run into bugs in our SDK or problems that you can't find any documentation for, or maybe you just have a question about how something should work. So this is the place that you want to come if you have any kind of questions like that, or even if you have ideas. Like there's all sorts of communities on here, depending on what product you're using. We even have a site specific or a section specifically for developers. So yeah, if you have any questions like that, this is a place to come. And let me just post this link in the Slack channel here. Or, maybe I'll just do it later. All right. So I'm gonna come over here, you can close this guy out. We've got our pods installed. We open our workspace and let me just pull over I didn't really realize like how crowded the screen was gonna get. Okay, are you guys looking at Xcode right now?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. Go ahead and grab this. I'm gonna pull my emulator over here so we can just kind of have one space to work. All right, so what I always like to do is just kick the tires on my projects, make sure everything is set up right. And then we are gonna start setting up our map view. All right, didn't fail. I think we're doing good. So I'm gonna go ahead and drag a UI view in here. And this is where our map is gonna live. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pin this guy so that it takes up the entire screen like this. Come down here to these constraints. I'm just gonna go 0. So it's pinned all the way around. F4 constraints. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do here is we need to actually make, this is a UI view right now. We want it to actually be an AGS map view since this is one part of our SDK. Okay, cool. All right, you guys are like, where's the code at? All right, this is our map view. And of course, we need to import ArcGIS. Give it a run, make sure it looks good. Okay, so from here on out, we have our the UI set up so we can pretty much just focus on the code. I don't know if that was really insightful for you guys to see me download that, but I hope you just realize how easy it is. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is just show you how to get a map up. So this is so easy. So we have this map view right here. So I'm just gonna go map view dot map equals AGS map, and you can specify a base map or a base map style. I'm just gonna go ahead and just do the default here because I'm gonna show you how we can create our own custom base maps using our developer account. It's being slow. Let's do a dark gray canvas vector. Are any of you guys actually like using any maps in your projects, or is this kind of like your first intro to GIS? No? First time? Okay, that's pretty exciting. All right, well, so with this one line of code, like here we go, we've got a map, pretty awesome stuff. And now I'm just gonna show you like how far you can go with it. Actually, I'm not going to because you can go way farther than I can show you in 30 minutes, but anyways. So we got our map up and running. So let's go back over to our developer account here and let's go to layers. Like we're gonna make this a little bit more interesting here. I wanna show you guys how you can create your own custom base map, which is so much fun. It just adds like this special little flair to your projects. Okay, so we have this button here, create data. It'll pop down. We just want to say new vector base map layer style. And so this is going to open up this tile style editor. And just get started here, and it'll let you pick like a starting point basically. So we have all these different options. You have these creative options like color pencil, I think. This one's pretty cool. This is one of my favorites. It's like this kind of dark, sort of fancy looking base maps. Let's just start with this guy. Cool. So as you can see over here, there's like all these different styling properties for like the land, the water, the roads, and like you can really dig in here and customize down to the smallest detail, which I'll let you guys do later if you're interested. But for right now, we're just going to make some basic changes here. So I'm going to make some like pink land. Here we go. Wow, beautiful. Maybe change the water to be like this, more like a light blue. Don't judge me, guys. Okay, let's go ahead and save this. I think I've had enough. Okay. I'm just going to call this my demo tile set. And so right now the default sharing settings are always set to you personally, so that if you're basically going to show this in your application, you would have to log in to see it. But I'm just going to make this public so that we don't have to deal with that in our app for right now, but just be aware that those exist, those sharing preferences. So we're going to save this, and then we're going to hop on over to ArcGIS Online. So yeah, take this one step at a time here. All right, cool. So next thing, ArcGIS Online. So what ArcGIS Online lets you do as a developer is it lets you manage all your content. So you can manage all of your feature layers, you can manage all of your maps, all of your tile sets, basically anything. I mean, you can add people to your organization, like update sharing preferences. So I actually find myself using this quite a bit, especially with these demo projects. So here, as you can see, here's the little tile set that I just made. It's of type tile layer. We can check and see, oh, it's shared to everyone. It's a public tile set. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this guy. And I'm going to go ahead and open it in the map viewer. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and create a map. So once I create this map, since it's saved in ArcGIS Online, I can actually pull this map into any project I want. I can pull it into like a web project. I can pull it into a mobile app. And it's pretty straightforward to do that. And I'm just going to show you guys what that looks like. So just go ahead and save this map. I'm going to call it Emily's map. Maybe I'll add a tag here, just a test tag. Test. Here we go. Save the map. All right, so let's go back home. Come over here to my content. And as you can see, here we go. We have Emily's map, and it's a web map, and it's got our tile layer and everything that we need to get started. So just open this up. And the one thing that we're going to need to do is, again, like it sets the sharing level to be yourself, so you'd have to log in. I'm just going to go ahead and edit this and make it public for now. Save that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and snag the URL for this guy. So back to our app that we're building here. So I have this URL, and in Swift, it gives us, here, I'll just type it out first, it's going to be way better. Okay, so. All right, so let's create a new map. So we have a bunch of options that we can use to initialize the map, and one of the options is passing in a URL. What do you know? It's pretty exciting. So we're just going to pass this URL to the portal item I just created. And then we're just going to assign that to our map views map property. Comment this guy out for now. So basically what is happening here, why I have this, well, and this needs to be an if let. So this URL, like when you first initialize it, it returns an optional property, which means that it may exist or it may not. Like how is SheCodes supposed to know that like this is a valid URL? Maybe it doesn't return anything. So we have to say, okay, if this URL is a valid URL, then we can go ahead and initialize the map with URL. So I don't know how technical and into the weeds that is for you, but we're just going to head and save that. And then, maybe let's just do a little debugging here. So else, maybe we want to print, this is not a valid map. High level debugging here, guys. Okay, let's run it. Credential required. No. Okay. All right, let me go back here and just make sure that all this is public. This should be public. I do not want to give you my credential. No, I don't want to like have to type it out. I'm too lazy. Okay. Let me go back here actually. All right, round 2 of go to my dashboard here. So I think what I need to do is I need to give the SDK an API key. So to generate one of these, you're just going to come back to your developer account, and I'm just going to click this button right here, create your first API key, and I'm going to call it Emily's demo key. And that's just what it is. It's a demo key. Go ahead and create that guy. Very cool. There it is. So I don't remember the exact specifics of how to set this. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over here to the documentation. I'm going to go find the ArcGIS IO SDK. Here we go. Install and set up. View the project. Let's see. It should have some note about our keys here. Don't you love it? Here we go. Okay, so we're going to have to come back over here, go to our app delegate. So this is where the application gets launched. So we just want to go ahead and set our runtime key, like right when the app launches, so that it knows it's us. And I'm going to have to go snag that key. Okay. And of course, import ArcGIS. All right, let's see if that solves our authentication issue here. The other reason that you're going to want to do this is because if you don't have an API key set, it's going to watermark the map and say only licensed for development, which is kind of annoying. So, well, I guess I have that down here right now, this license for developer use only. So you have, yeah, basically this key is a key part of getting rid of that. I don't know why it's not doing it right this moment, but just FYI. Okay, so we've got a custom map in here now, and that's pretty cool because this map is the same map that we created in ArcGIS Online. And I could take this map and I could bring it into any of my other projects. I could bring it into a web project, like a website that I'm building, or I don't know, it's just kind of cool to like be able to share this across multiple platforms. So this is, you know, pretty basic. We just have a map with a base map and we style it, which is cool. But where the real power of GIS comes in, and what like the funnest part about it is starting to add data to your map. So adding feature layers. And that's also something that you can do with ArcGIS Online. So if we go back over here, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to go ahead and create a feature layer. So I'm going to go ahead and build a layer, and I'm just going to create a basic layer that has points in it. Let's go ahead and create this guy. And we don't really need any of that. So let's just go like this. And yeah. Okay, well, maybe I should slow down for a second. Does anyone have any questions? I know I'm like probably zooming through this, but yeah.
I have no questions. I'm fully invested in this. I don't know. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's super fun, right? Development is like really cool. It's like you can make all kinds of crazy stuff. And the great thing about this is like we're just doing this like through ArcGIS Online. We don't have to have desktop software or anything installed. So it just makes it, you know, so easy to get up off the ground, like running with your own projects. Anyways, cool. So we're going to create a feature layer. So feature layers are really cool because, like I said, they store data and information. You can run queries against that data. Like you can perform all kinds of cool operations, like give it cool symbology, but you know, picture or demo is worth 1,000 words. So let's just get into it. So creating the feature layer. Sometimes it takes a minute to set this all up, so just bear with me. The glory of a live demo. Ta-da, here we go. All right, here's our feature layer. It's points, like it has nothing in it. So if you're looking at a feature layer in ArcGIS Online, you can come over here and like see what data is in here. Obviously, we just created this one, so there's nothing in it. But you can visualize it on the map. You can see usage, like how many people are looking at it, how often it's being used over the past 24 hours, like custom date range if you want. Settings, yeah, you can prevent, you know, have delete protections. No one accidentally deletes it, which happens sometimes if you have an organization with multiple people who have privileges to do that. So it's always something to be aware of. All right, this looks pretty good to me. So let me come over here and just open this in the map viewer. All right. So we got our test feature layer here. So let's make a feature layer. Since I'm in Maine, let's go ahead and make a feature layer of some cool places around Maine. Where am I? Over here. I'm right over here, guys. Okay, so how do we do this again? Let's create this guy. Oh, it shows us our data. Oh, here we go. Edit. The edit keyword here. All right, so I'm just going to add a new feature. So I'm just going to tap this little guy. And there's actually a pretty cool lighthouse over here. So I'm going to drop a feature here. Close. There we go. Maybe I'll add another feature over here. Boink. There's another like a lighthouse over here. Done. Okay, so I think I've got like 3 points. Maybe we'll just add a few more. Boink. You guys didn't know you were going to learn about lighthouses in Maine today. Actually, this isn't a lighthouse, but okay, cool. So we have a feature layer. Let's see. Is there anything I need to do to save this? I think we're good. Oh, here we go. Maybe I should save it. I don't want to save the map. I just want to save the feature layer. I think we should be good. Okay. All right. Let's go back to ArcGIS Online. Did you see that? You've visited this page many times. Like, thanks, Google. Thanks, I knew that. Okay, sign in. Making me do this whole thing again. All right, let's go back to my content. Here's my feature layer. Let's just go make sure that data showed up. Pretty cool. Okay, it showed up. Ta-da! All right, so let's go back to that map that I created with the custom base map. So if we come back to my content, okay, here's my map, this web map. Let's go ahead and click on it. And we're going to go back to the map viewer and we're going to add that feature layer to this map. So open this guy map viewer. And let's go add, search for layers. What did I call that? Oh, just going to automatically show up. Here we go. Add to the map. So let's make sure that showed up. It looks like it did. Zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, it's pretty ugly, but I think it does the job pretty well. So, all right, let's go back to my project. Let's run it and let's just see if the feature layer is there. Moment of truth. Am I right? Oh, I was zooming on these emulators. Here we go. A little bit off. Trying to zoom in here to check it out. I'm not sure. I can't really see. I don't know if they're showing up. Oh no, what happened? Well, it's kind of a bummer. We can debug this though, guys, because we're developers. So guess what? What we're gonna do? We're gonna come over to our view controller and we're gonna just go dig around in our map. So map view.map.operational. I think actually this might be optional. Yep, it is. So let's just print out our layer name. So layer dot. I think name seems to make the most sense. We'll see if it complains. Oh, you know what? What am I doing? Dot map. You guys are developers. You got to have my back here. Okay. All right, let's just do that. All right, so let's just see if we get any console output for that guy. We can even set a little breakpoint here and just see. Yeah, it's looking like it's not showing up in our operational layers. Just unfortunate. Maybe I just need to say, oh my gosh. Oh, okay, well, I'm running into some permission issues. Can you guys spot the bug? My feature layer is not shared with everyone. I knew I was gonna accidentally do that at some point. Oh no. No. Mhm. Well, I hope you guys kind of get the idea. But I'm sorry I was not able to make the feature layer work. But I feel like we just covered a ton of bases. So does anybody have any questions at all? Like, I mean, even if it's other than iOS development, if maybe you're a web developer and you're like wanting a little bit more insight into the process, I mean, feel free to ask away.
Y'all can ask questions about careers as well.
Yeah, exactly.
This is our 13 minutes of Q&A. We wanted to leave this for y'all. So what questions do you guys have for us?
Could you tell us about like a specific project you worked on before, like as a iOS developer?
Yeah, I could totally talk about that. So right now at ESRI, I'm working on an app that we build called Field Maps. You can look it up in the App Store if you want to like see some screenshots and check it out. But what it does is it basically enables field workers to go out and do data collection in the field. You can like turn on tracking. You can do all kinds of fun things like create markup. And yeah, there's a bunch of fun GIS kind of nerdy stuff to do that app lets you do. So that's basically what I work on now. I've worked on a couple of other apps in the past, not specifically like native iOS apps, but they use like more cross-platform development like Xamarin Forms, React Native. But all of them have had some GIS component. It's just a very hotly requested feature, I guess.
So I think we have a question in the chat from Tuan. So he wants kind of like a little bit more of an in-depth explanation of like what the feature layer was that you were messing around with in the ArcGIS, and he also wants to know what like are developers able to do with it, and maybe you can provide some examples for insight.
Yeah, for sure. So feature layers are like one of the most essential components of, I guess, making a map. Like, I don't want to say making a map, but like making an information-rich map. So the example I was trying to show you guys, and I was running into some permission issues with my org, and I didn't want to have to like push you guys through that. But the example I was showing you was just like some simple like lighthouses around Maine. So I might add in some data about those lighthouses. I might say, well, this one was maintained like 10 years ago. This one got maintenance 5 years ago. And maybe someone from the city would look at that and they would be like, oh my gosh, like this one really needs some care. So being able to like share that data across various maps and across various platforms is super important. That's like one of the major reasons you might use a feature layer. But yeah, there's a lot of, I guess, do you have any more specific questions about feature layers?
Do you guys have any databases that connect to this map that is available for developers to use, or is that more of a...
No, totally. So actually the feature layer that I spun up for you guys is powered by a database. Like that's data that's all saved in a database and you can access that. I can show you. It's just kind of a little bit more nuts and bolts, but if you want to see that, I'll show you. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, let me make sure I get the right desktop this time. Okay, so here we are at our feature layer. So if you come over here and you're in ArcGIS Online, you actually want to see all this data in a database. We have this URL here that points to a service. So if you click on this guy, it's going to take you to like, this very plain page. It's going to tell you basically all the metadata about the feature layer. So it's going to, tell you like all these supported formats, like what kind of layers are in here. We have a point layer. So let's just go here. So once you're at this point, you can actually run queries against this feature layer. So I'm going to go hit this query button here. And I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with SQL, but since I only have 4 points in here, I don't feel too uncomfortable about doing this, but I'm just going to go 1 = 1. and I'm just going to output all the data. So outfields, I'm just going to go all of them. So let's just do a query here. So this basically pulls out all the data from that feature layer. And as you can see, we didn't actually add any attributes to these lighthouses, but you could add like a lighthouse name or something, but there's all of these other things that are created, right? They have an object ID, a unique ID that it's saved into in the database or in the backend. You know, the date that you created it, who created it. So if you're really wanting to like dig into this feature layer data and really like get a glimpse into the backend, like this is where you would come. Is you would create these feature layers and you would come in here and you can, run these queries against it if you're familiar with SQL. And again, like if you go to the developer website, like we will have a ton of documentation on how to do this, probably different use cases. So yeah, this is kind of that side of things. Any other questions?
Emily, I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure thing.
So what made you decide on ESRI as an employer? I'm just curious, and this is more so for me than the students, but I'm just curious because obviously as an iOS developer, I'm sure you had multiple different opportunities. So what ultimately sold you on ESRI, or how did you hear about us?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when I graduated from college in Montana, I took up a job at a consulting company. We were like a consulting company specializing in GIS. So we worked with ESRI Tech a lot. And so that's kind of like my first taste of ESRI, but they actually sent me to the ESRI Developer Summit and I went there and I was like totally mind blown. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like where I want to work. It's so cool. I was like so impressed with the technology and just with the people. So that's what ultimately led me to apply to ESRI when I was looking for my next job or my next opportunity. And I was like so stoked that I got the position. But yeah, that's what made me really take a good serious look at ESRI. And yeah, I would definitely encourage you guys, if you have the chance, if you're in California, like if you can swing by the Developer Summit. Well, I guess it's all virtual now, but when things go back to normal, and if you can go to the Dev Summit, it's such a fun experience because you can just kind of, basically the day is split up into these like hour-long sessions and you can kind of like walk in between any of the sessions you're interested in. So there's stuff on machine learning, there's stuff on JavaScript development, like anything and everything under the sun. Our products down to like the deepest, most technical sessions that are like about a very specific niche part of the SDK. Like you can just learn so much there. Yeah, but that's kind of what encouraged me to come here. So
awesome. Cool. Thank you. I see a couple of questions in the chat. Sandra looks like the first one. What's your favorite part of working for ESRI? I'll go first, and then Emily, I'll let you go second. So for reference, I've been at ESRI for just under 6 years. And so they've got their claws on me. I've been here for a while. All my previous jobs before this have been just about 2 years. So the fact that I'm here for 6 is pretty staggering. But with that being said, the thing that I like most about ESRI is, number one, the people. As a campus recruiter, I go around to universities across the US, work with students, and oftentimes I will go out on campus with people I've never met before, and I've never had a bad interaction with someone from ESRI. It's just, the people here are truly amazing. And then I would say number two is the fact that I'm always learning and being challenged in my career. As cheesy as it says, and bear with me, I never thought that I would be as far as I am professionally than I am now. Like, I didn't realize how far behind I was until I joined ESRI, and now I'm kind of like, wow, I'm actually kind of like doing more than I thought I was going to do from a professional standpoint. And so for me, I like that opportunity just to continue to develop and grow and to become a better professional. What about you, Emily?
My favorite part about working at ESRI, I think that I just have so much flexibility. Like as a developer, I find myself spending large chunks of time just like sitting, like, trying to get into a flow state, like sitting for hours at a time, like really trying to focus on what I'm doing. And I think the nice thing about working at ESRI is that like everyone understands that, and I get a lot of flexibility and I guess time to do that. Like if I, want to block out time for like development specific work, I can do that. And I don't know, I don't mind getting it here. Just, I think that the work environment is very flexible and that makes for being able to produce really high quality code. So that's my favorite part about working here.
Awesome. Another question that we have is, as a student, how can we get involved with ESRI right now? And I will say that's a great question. So Emily had mentioned it, get involved in our conferences. So students have a great opportunity to get involved in our conferences. There even might be a potential for like compensated or free registration. You can, if you're interested in that, you can always reach out to me and I can check into it. I cannot make any guarantees. So even if you reach out, it may not happen. But in general, you can try to get involved in our conferences. That's a great way to learn more about ESRI as an organization, learn about our different technologies and all of that stuff. I think that's a great thing. Obviously, you know, an internship is fantastic. Prior to COVID, we actually had student assistantships, and student assistantships were basically just opportunities for you to go and help us out at the conference. ESRI pays for your lodging as well as food for the entire week. So it's just on you to basically go there, do your networking and learn, which is a great opportunity. I don't know where everyone is in school, but if you are, you know, more of a lower classman, that possibility may come back next year. So it's definitely something to keep in mind, and, you know, keep in mind and definitely keep an eye out for our website, as that opportunity is truly amazing. So I would say those are probably some things that you can do there. And then, you know, as far as getting involved with ESRI, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be direct involvement. I think learning about our technology is a great way to, you know, enhance your skills to make you more marketable, to potentially want to get employment here, as well as, you know, just trying to, you know, network, you know, reach out to different developers who work here, try to, you know, get an understanding of what type of work they're doing and that kind of stuff, you know, set up a LinkedIn conversation or a phone call, or if you're feeling really, you know, ambitious, you could maybe try to set up a cup of coffee. I don't know, but it's up to you. So those are some things that I would recommend. Emily, do you have any ideas on that other than what I've just kind of thrown out there?
Yeah, I don't have much to add.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then we've got a question about PTO. I will say that ESRI has a very normal PTO policy. I will say, though, that anytime you work over 40 hours, you have the opportunity to bank that time. And if you bank that time, you do have the opportunity to use that at a later time. So while we do have a finite amount of actual PTO, you can use your bank time whenever, and you can bank up to 100 hours. So let's just say that, you know, at the beginning of the year, between January, February, and March, you're very busy. You end up banking 100 hours per week, or 100 hours in that time frame. You've got 2 weeks of vacation. You, in theory, could take, you know, a 5-week vacation in, let's just say, May. And then you could come back and, you know, if you banked up another 100 hours, then you could essentially take another 2.5 weeks off. So, you know, I don't want to say that you have unlimited PTO, but bank time really kind of opens the door for you to have some flexibility as far as kind of taking some time off. And I think I see one more question. So kind of diverging from the technical aspect, are there any steps ESRI is taking to promote a more collaborative environment with COVID? I would say that for me, on the HR side of things, there's definitely a lot of meetings that we're having, Zoom, like we're having, you know, like coffee meetings, different things like that, just to kind of get involved. From more of the actual developer side of things, I'll kind of let Emily, you know, dive in and kind of talk a little bit more about that, simply because she's more familiar with that world. So Emily, do you have any ideas on how you guys are more collaborative just during times of COVID? And I see that you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, actually, to be honest, I feel like not much has changed. It's kind of weird to say, but I mean, everyone would just communicate over Slack in the office anyways. We would always just kind of sit in our own little bubbles. And I mean, of course, there were moments when, you know, you'd be going to get a cup of coffee and you would end up chatting with someone. And I would definitely say that that aspect of being in the workplace is missed and is valuable. But I think to make up for that, what we try and do now is we try and have like weekly Zoom meetings with everyone on the team, where it's just kind of a more informal environment. And so sometimes in those cases, like, you know, a developer will say, oh, hey, I thought about this or this, and that kind of like kicks off the conversation. But overall, I would say not much really has changed. We use Slack a lot. We use GitHub for, you know, version control, and like, you know, we have a lot of conversation happening on PRs and on various issues. So I think that we've actually adapted really well to this work from home environment. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any other questions from anyone?
Yeah, any other questions for Nick and Emily? Okay, I'll just assume there aren't. Thank you for coming today and talking to our members about all the opportunities at ESRI and showing us the wonderful demo. And for everyone who didn't sign in yet, please sign in via the link in the chat, and we'll just end this meeting at 1. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Yes.
See you guys.
Thank you.